Hello, hello, hello. How are you guys doing today? Welcome to week 1465 of Peter's weight loss journey. We'll just come up with a new number every week because I don't even know. I think it's actually like week 38 or 39 of the weight loss journey, but I'm not even sure. And I think that's probably strange to a lot of people. I have to actually, when I put up the video every week, I have to go in and look at the previous week to see which week it was so that I know what week it is to make the thumbnail for this week. So I don't even know. I think it's like week 38 or 39. And, it's interesting because I'm at the point where I'm not counting anymore. And that might sound strange to some people, but at the same time, that's kind of an integral part of this journey that I've been on, where this has just become something that I'm doing. This is not where I'm counting down towards a date. And that's a really important piece for me because I am typically somebody that is like, okay, by this anniversary or by this trip or by summer, I want to lose so much weight. And then that date comes and goes and I haven't lost that weight and I haven't met my goals. And so that's actually kind of like an important improvement that I'm not really counting time anymore, that I'm just kind of, this is just part of my life now, integrating health and fitness into my life. And so, and I have been doing that. I will tell you, the weight loss update on the scales for this week is a little bit of a joke, but a little joke on Peter Monn, but we'll get to that in just a second. So I will say this, I'm not feeling great today. I feel like I might be getting sick, but I'm not really sure. But I don't feel great today, but I was like, nope, we're going to push through it. We're going to film some videos, rest and relax tonight, and hopefully tomorrow I wake up and I feel much better. Okay, so let's get into the last week. The last week, I haven't eaten horribly at all. I made really good health choice or eating choices. And one of the things that I'm trying to implement is I'm somebody that eats a larger meal one time a day, or that's historically what I do. And I am trying to eat several times a day instead. Like a smaller meal, like when I get up, try to have something. And I'm not doing this every day. It's taking some time. It's total resistance because it's not what I'm used to. So like when I get up, I'm not really that hungry. And so for me to like have some oatmeal or something like that, just it really doesn't sound that appetizing. But I'm trying to do that. And it's one of the things the nutritionist suggested was that if I eat 3 to 5 times a day smaller meals, then she talked to me about my metabolism and things like that. So that's one of the things that I'm trying to do. I have a really, really hard time doing that because I'm somebody that likes to sit down, and this is also, the nutritionist talked to me about this as well, that the way that I'm seeing it is that food is a reward. Because one of the things that I like to do is that once I have filmed all my videos for the day, Alex is home, I'm relaxing, that's when I eat, and I sit and I like watch TV, or we watch TV together, and then that's when I eat. And so I see it as a reward instead of just having to eat for sustenance. So it's kind of changing my mindset a little bit as far as not eating as a reward. And incidentally, it's weird because that's something that I've done for years and years and years. And I feel like that's something that I kind of knew already. I can remember years ago, okay, that I would like, for a special show that I was really excited to watch, like RuPaul's Drag Race or something, that I would get like a lot of Taco Bell. And that was kind of my reward at the end of the day for doing all this kind of stuff. And so I think I do see food as a reward, and especially as being somebody in recovery. I got sober at 22 and a half, and so I have a lot of friends of mine that will be like, well, at the end of the day of work, I'd stop at the local bar, and that was my way to, like, unwind, or, like, if we made a big deal, or whatever, and that was their way to celebrate, and whatever. And so I had fun, and I partied with alcohol and drugs, but I didn't necessarily go through all of that of what I hear people say. And so I think that I've kind of to some degree translated, like I've talked to my sponsor about this, that I think I've translated that rewarding of a substance to food. And so that's something that I have to be very, very aware of. So I'm currently in the transition of trying to push myself into eating several times smaller meals, several times a day, instead of one bigger meal, at night. I am trying to not eat past a certain time. So it was 9 o'clock and now I'm lowering it to 8 o'clock. So I'm trying to not eat later at night. And not have one big meal. Now, I have not gone on the field trip yet to the grocery store with a nutritionist. Our schedules just have not been matching up. Hopefully this weekend, that's something that we can do. She's got a lot of free time this weekend, so she's hoping that maybe that's something we can do. She actually even, she was, suggested that if I wanted to, take my cousin Caroline or Alex or whatever, and that, if they wanted to learn some things too, and so anyway. So that's coming up. That I don't know that I feel like, it's interesting because I went into meeting with a nutritionist, and I said that I didn't like have really like a lot of high hopes about it. Like I didn't really think it was going to change my perspective a lot and stuff. And it's not like I'm checking in with her every day, but I have reached out to her and asked her some things. She's made some suggestions like the eating several times a day and things like that. And so I'll check in with her, or she'll be like, you know, just like randomly like send me a text, how are you doing? How are things going? Or can you, you know, jump on the phone for a second? So I'll talk to her. It is more helpful than I thought it would be, because it's accountability, and I already have accountability partners, but it's accountability as far to somebody that like really knows what they're talking about. And so when I say something, and then she'll say, well, maybe if you tried this instead, you know, and so, you know, like that's something that has been really, really helpful in a way that I didn't expect that the nutritionist would be helpful. So that brings me to the fitness part of it. Now, last week I said that my 3 goals for the week were that I was going to walk more. My plan was to walk, I think I said 4 to 5 times a week, which I actually walked 5 times last week. I was kind of surprised. I thought I only walked like 3 times last week, but I walked 5 times. And then my goal was to walk between 1.5 hours and 2 hours every time I walk. Several people said that they thought that that was like a really, really long time to walk. For me, it's not just about the walking for 1.5 hours to 2 hours, but it's about it's also a selfish act because I like to listen to my audiobooks. So the longer I walk, the more I'm listening to my audiobooks. But then I also wanted to double my water intake, and I also wanted to start lifting weights at least 3 times a week, 2 to 3 times a week, I think is what I said. So the walking is going well. Now I'll get to the walking in just a second because I'm actually keeping a notebook of the walking. I have not started lifting weights yet, but I have doubled my water intake. So 2 out of 3 is not bad, and the week's not over yet. So I'm hoping that if I feel better tomorrow, I don't, like I said, I feel like I don't know if did I say this already? I feel like I'm kind of getting a little bit sick. So I think tonight I'll probably pass on the walk, and I've had to pass the last 2 nights on the walk, and then I won't be starting the weight training today. So I'm hoping that if I get a little bit of rest tonight and I wake up tomorrow and I feel a little bit better because I feel like I'm kind of getting sick, then maybe if I wake up tomorrow and I feel better, then I can, you know, if I could even just get like 1 day of the weight training in, or 2 days this weekend, that would be really great. My husband has been so supportive. He's asked me like every day, he's like, are you going to take your walk tonight? You know, did you do your weight training? And he's not like grilling me on it. He's just like supportively asking me. And that's what I asked for him. You know, when I started all of this a long time ago, you know, he said to me, what do you need from me? And that's kind of changed over time. And he's been super, super helpful and super supportive through this whole process. So as far as like the water intake, I've completely doubled it. And one of the things I've had to do is, you know, I used to get up and I would have like a cup of coffee and I would drink coffee throughout the day. I'm now drinking water throughout the day. And that's one of the ways, and I'm not like, sometimes I don't even drink a cup of coffee until I start my vlog in the evenings. And that's one of the ways that I've kind of like doubled my water intake. So I just have like a water bottle that I'm carrying with me throughout the day. And that's been really, really helpful. The second thing with the walking is, I think that keeping the chart has been really helpful. So the first week, which was just 3 days, I walked for 1 hour and 16 minutes and 1 hour and 31 minutes. And then last week, I actually walked 5 days. I walked Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Sunday. And I walked 1 hour and 23 minutes, 2 hours and 6 minutes, 1 hour and 22 minutes, 2 hours and 30 minutes. That was my highlight right there. And what's interesting was that on that day, like, I could have just kept on going. I could have walked for like 4 hours, and I was really into whatever book I was reading that I don't even remember. And then on Sunday, 1 hour and 1 minute. Now this week, I have not done as great. I walked on Monday, I walked for 1 hour and 40 minutes. And then Tuesday, I went to my home group meeting with my friend Tanya, so I didn't walk that night because I didn't get home until like 10 or 10:30. And then last night, my plan was to walk. I kind of wanted just to relax and rest, but I got done vlogging and I was like, okay, I'm gonna go walk. Well, I went inside and I started rendering the vlog. And because usually what I do is like, I'll render my vlog and then on iMovie, and then I start uploading it. And while it's uploading is when I walk. And then when I come back from my walk, the vlog is ready to post, which is why I've been posting my vlog a little bit earlier recently. But I went and I did all that, and I was like, okay, and then I went outside, and it had started raining, and I was like, I mean, it was like raining, and I was not gonna just like start a walk. If I'm walking and it starts sprinkling a little bit, that's one thing, but I don't want to leave the house like full raincoat and go out in the rain. And so I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna skip it. It actually stopped like 1 hour later, but at that point I was just like too relaxed and whatever, so I was like, I'm not gonna walk. And tonight I don't feel great, so I feel like I need to just kind of like rest my body and focus on me feeling and getting a little bit better than pushing myself to walk, which if it's cold outside already and I'm not bundled up, I may get myself sicker. So my plan tonight is to just rest and relax and hopefully get back to the walking tomorrow. And even if I did that, then Friday, Saturday, and Sunday I would still walk, and that would be 4 walks that I would get in out of 5. And you know what? The other thing is this, is that I'm going to learn as I grow. It's I'm a list maker, and like, so this thing is like nothing new for me, that I do all this on with everything in my life. But I also don't want to be ruled by that. I don't want to be ruled by the fact that like I wouldn't go to a meeting with my friends because I want to walk instead that night. Like, I don't want to be ruled by that, you know what I mean? And especially if this is going to be like a journey for my life. Like, I don't want to beat myself up. I told a story about like not eating with my mom for Christmas Eve on her last Christmas Eve that I wasn't aware it was going to be, and neither did she. Because I was so like structured on this like diet that I was on. I do not ever want to live my life that way again, you know? Which I think is a little bit why I'm kind of forgiving that the weight loss has taken so long and it's more weight maintenance at this point. I think that's a little bit why I am forgiving of that, because I'm not willing to miss out on things. Like, I'm not willing to miss out on the going out to dinner with friends or traveling. I'm not willing to, you know, forego events in my life because I have to get in my walk and things like that. And I think it's important to note that there have been times, not just with dieting, but also with fitness, that I have been that person. There was a period, I've talked about this before, where I was like running every day and I was like lifting weights like 5 to 6 times a week. And I know it's hard to believe, but there was a period in my life that it was like 2 years of my life. And I was very structured eating when I was eating. And I actually had some friends that reached out to me and they were like, I'm a little worried that you're like, you know, transferring your addiction for drugs and alcohol to like working out. And I have actually seen, but that's healthy, right? But like, so it's not like it's detrimental to you. But I have to be careful of that because I'm somebody that can like go all in and whatever. Not that that's necessarily bad to go all in on walking, right? But I have to be kind of careful about that. Like even the other night when I walked, the night that I walked 2 hours and 30 minutes, I like, 2 of my friends said something to me about like, why don't you just focus on making it like an hour to an hour and a half instead of like, you know, and I said, well, it wasn't really that much that night that I was like trying to like be like, oh, 2 hours and 30 minutes. Although I was proud of myself. It was more like, it was a nice night and I was having so much fun walking, listening to my audiobook. But I think that was a good conversation for me to have because you know, like I'm aiming at an hour and a half and 2 hours because that's about the steps that I want to get in a day. I'm pretty sedentary, just sitting around the house all day long. And so unless I'm going on a walk, I'm not really getting in a lot of steps or being that active, you know? And so that is my activity of the day. And so for a lot of you, when you're getting out of the house and you're walking here and going there, and even if you're going to the store in the mall or you're walking around work, you're getting in a lot more steps than I am by just walking around our small house. So for me, when I leave the house, that is why I have that goal, so I can get in a lot more steps, you know? A lot of people have given me really great suggestions. They're like, walk like in the morning and walk in the evening. I think that's a fantastic suggestion. It's not something that I'm going to do. For me, I'm trying to kind of like look at some of these things as like, if I'm not going to look at food as a reward, then the walk is a reward for me. And so when I've got done with everything that I want to get done in the day, and then I go on my walk, it's kind of my way to go, it's kind of my exhale moment. And I look forward to walking in the evening, you know, and I'm really enjoying that now. And I take all different kinds of routes. Like the neighborhood that we live in is like, we're like here, and then there's like neighborhoods outside of us. And so I can go into that neighborhood and that neighborhood and that neighborhood. And there's all different ways that I can walk, and it's really fun. And I'm loving getting back into my audiobooks and stuff. So I want to continue with the walking. I want to continue with like the doubling of the water and things like that. I'm doing pretty good with that. I could up it a little bit more with the water, but then I want to get back. I want to get into the weightlifting, get back into it. It's been years. I want to get into the weightlifting because I think that will, you know, help a lot too. And you know, one of the things that my personal trainer said to me is, you know, like 80% of what you're doing is going to be about the food that you're eating and the water that, you know, and all that kind of stuff. He said, but if you're exercising and you're lifting weights and you're doing cardio and things like that, he said, you're also going to be tightening up your skin so that you're not like, you know, like and that's probably one of the reasons why I say this. It's weird. As up and down as I've gone through the years, as up and down as I've gone, I literally have, I don't even know what side it's on, but it's right on my side. I have one little stretch mark like this big, you know, and I think that part of that is because during those periods I have been very active. And so he's like, you know, your body is going to change if you lose weight, but if you just drop a bunch of weight, he was like, your body to you is just going to look like, it's not going to look a whole lot different. He was like, which is why the fitness is important. He goes, plus you're also talking about your overall health. He's like, strength training, cardio, and all that kind of stuff is going to contribute to the overall health of your body. This is not just about getting into a pair of jeans and looking cute for me. I mean, that's a big part of it. I'm not going to lie, but it's not just about that. It's about the overall health. It's about the fact that I'm not just 50 anymore. I'm 52, going to be 53 next year. I'm like in my 50s. Like, I have to take care of my health. It's why I have, like, you know, been doing so much preventative health in the last couple years and making sure that I'm going to the dentist regularly and the doctor and things like that and getting all my blood tests done and all that kind of stuff, because I think that that's really important. So, and that will be a later discussion with the blood work and all that kind of stuff, because not really anything came out about that. But anyway, so that's where we're at this week. I do want to say, let's get into the scale. Should we get into the scale? Okay. So I weighed myself right before I came on here. Now, last week, are you ready for the joke? Okay. Last week, I weighed in at 207.4. Today, I weighed in at 207.3. So I literally lost 0.1 pound in the last week. I don't know why my body loves this 207 pound thing. I don't know what it is about that. I'm so frustrated. It's so frustrating to me to just be like stuck in this pattern of 207, between 206 and 208 pounds, this 207 mark. I'm like, if I could just get down to like 204, I think I would be so motivated, you know? And I even said something on my vlog a couple days ago, because I have been weighing myself a little bit more than usual, but I have been walking, and somebody said, you know, well, it's like muscle weight, and I know all that kind of stuff, but at this point of weighing myself this much consistently over that many, you know, I don't know how much of it's, you know, muscle weight and all that kind of stuff. I'll be honest with you, my goal is still to get to my goal, to get below 200 and whatever. I'm not super fixated on that anymore. Right now, my focus is on regularly walking and not stopping that. Implementing the weight training as well, because the walking, when I get back from the walking, I feel so good. Like, you know, I chug a bunch of water and then I just like sit and I take a hot shower. I put on comfy pajamas and I feel so good with those endorphins, like, you know, pumping through my body. And I think I'm sleeping better because of it as well. And I just feel really, I think I'm sleeping deeper. And I just feel really, really relaxed after walking. It's really helping me. Plus, I think, and everything with what we've gone through with Boo and other stuff in our lives and in my life, I think that those moments of walking are giving me clarity. And because I'm not really thinking about a lot of stuff when I walk. Sometimes I do, but if I'm listening to music, but I've been listening to audiobooks. And so it's just really nice to get my body moving and, you know, here, let's do a little walk. You know, people ask me a lot. They're like, you should do walking vlogs. Okay, so this is the reason why I don't do walking vlogs, okay? Because when I walk, I like to listen to music or I like to listen to an audiobook. And that's kind of like my private time. Like, that's what I like to do. Like, that's my time away, you know, to kind of just escape from it all. And so I don't want to do walking vlogs. Like, to do a vlog where I walk down to the pool or walk and show the woods or something, like, that's one thing. But to walk and talk the whole time, like, that's not enjoyable for me. And I'm really enjoying my walks right now. And I appreciate the recommendations and people asking for that. I appreciate that anybody wants to anybody would ask for a walking vlog. I can't imagine of anything so boring. But anyway, I appreciate you guys asking for that. I think people were saying, like, if you did that, that might help with your walking. And I get that. But I'm loving the walking right now. And I just want to say that, you know, a couple of weeks ago, I don't know which one it was, but I said something about, like, my last, I think I addressed this last week too. I said my last weigh-in or something, and it was because of it being October, and then I was taking Halloween off. And I got so many people that commented on that video, even in the last week, that said, I was really worried you weren't going to do this anymore, you weren't going to weigh in, you weren't going to keep this up. No, I'm keeping this up. I mean, if I'm 207 pounds for the next year, I'm going to keep doing this every day. And for those people that say, what's the point of this? You know, like, I'm doing so much more than I was doing a year ago. I'm walking 3 to 5 times a week. I'm walking for long periods of time. I'm enjoying it. You know, I'm really very careful about what I eat. I'm making really good eating choices. I'm changing as I go, like moving it from eating 1 time a day as a reward to eating several times a day, even though it doesn't feel natural for me to do that. My water intake is better. I want to start the weight training. I'm talking about it, and I have kept up this commitment of doing these videos. For me, that is huge, you know? That is really, really huge. And there's just a few people out there that are kind of like, you know, like, well, why are you even doing this? this, what's the point? I can tell you right now, the point for me is this, that I have accountability factors, but doing these videos is a huge accountability factor for me as well. And if, well, I have accountability partners, I meant, but this is a huge accountability factor for me as well. If, let's say I'd stopped this 10 weeks ago, I do believe that a little bit by little bit, certain things would drop, and I would probably be 265, 268 pounds again, which is not healthy for me. I don't want to be that weight. That puts me into a category of really having high health risks. And so even though to some people it might just be like, well, you're just maintaining, you're really not doing anything, I actually feel like I'm doing quite a bit. And it's really my journey, nobody else's either. But so I don't really, you know, I don't really get that sentiment when people say that. But I know eventually I'm going to reach my goals. I'm doing a little bit more and more each week. There was 3 or 4 or 5, 6, 8 weeks where I just was like, got on here and was like, I really haven't done anything and whatever. And that's just not the case. And that's just not the case today. I wasn't doing it then. But something switched in me. And I feel remotivated again, like I said last week. And I am keeping up with the walking. I don't plan on stopping any of this stuff. I plan on just implementing more and more and more. Those people out there that have left me comments have talked about how you have been doing this weight loss journey from the beginning and you've lost 30 pounds, or you've done this and you're struggled but you're back on track, or you guys share stories about your past weight loss or health journey with me. Thank you so much, because that has really inspired me. And for those people that have just been really encouraging and supportive of this whole thing and said, Peter, like, you know, just keep it up, you can do this, you'll get there one day at a time, I just want to say thank you so much too for the support, because that really helps me. So yeah, so that's where we're at this week. I've lost 1.1 pound. You know, it's interesting because I think like 10 weeks ago, that would have made me really sad to get on here and say that. But like, that's the least of what I cared about sharing today. What I cared about sharing was that I'm walking, that I'm inspired to do weight loss training, that I've been doubling my water, you know, all this kind of stuff. And like that, I feel like I'm doing really like well at that. Like those are successes for me, you know, that is progress. So it's less about the weight, you know? And I know that people are going to be like, if you keep up the walking, whatever, you're going to wake up one day and you'll drop the weight. I don't know that. Maybe, I don't know, but that's not necessarily where my focus is. My focus is that I'm feeling better and I'm sleeping better and I'm enjoying my walks and I feel inspired and motivated. And that's something that last week started, and I'm still feeling that today. And that wasn't something that I was feeling 6 to 8 weeks ago. I was actually questioning whether or not I should continue this. So that's a lot of successes for me that I'm feeling this week. So anyway, let me know what you think in the comment section below. I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.